I've been asked a few times after participating in a lot of remote locals and a few in-person locals what my Flunder list is. I don't recommend playing my Flunder list unless you are heavily on a budget because you don't want to pay all the money for prosps. Check out the flex of the field centers here. They're nice custom field centers. I will link where they come from in the description below. Haha. Let's go ahead and just wanted to do that because I feel that's what most people do. Anyways, this is a very awkward setup because my webcam is not good enough to do a deck profile like this on. So I have to use a DSLR that I can't really fit in my room. That's why I don't use it for remote duels. So hopefully this is fine. But this is my Flunder list if you're on a budget, which means I'm playing Extrav and Cherries in the side instead of Prosperity and Punishment in the main. So there's the real big difference. Other than that, it's a pretty standard Flunder list. It has actually won me enough games. This deck is boring as fuck, but this format kinda sucks dick. I don't care if you think based is based. In my opinion, it is just mashing shit together and seeing what works. I sure do live in 2005. Anyways, we're gonna start with the main deck monsters. This is standard stuff. Eglin and Rabina at 3. I play 2 copies of Strix. Not saying Stree, because the Japanese name was better, and 1 Toucan, because this just seems standard. I would normally be on 2 Toucan, but I wanted to throw back in 3 Book of Moon, and the flex card was Toucan. I am on the high roll shit. I do play that 1 barrier statue. It is standard, but it is high roll as shit, let's be honest. The Apex Avian, obviously, M-Pen, and the 1 Monarch. I don't play 2 M-Pen, because 2 M-Pen, I mean, even in a grind game, you can still loop the 1 M-Pen. I'm not saying 2 M-Pen is bad, but honestly, with how things are in my deck, I'd rather have 1 M-Pen, but 2 M-Pen isn't bad, you can totally go for that. And then for the hand traps, we have the 3 Ash Blossom, and the 3 worst, most degenerate hand trap I think I've ever seen printed. This card shuts out decks if you just shotgun it in the standby phase. This just kills so many decks. We play the 3 Book of Moon, the 3 Duality. These should be Prosperities, but they are expensive and not everyone is rich, so honestly, understandable. Extrav is pretty good because it also doesn't telegraph immediately game 1 what you're doing. Some people will think you're playing Eld, of all things, and they actually just shotgun the Ash here, and I find that very funny. So there are actually benefits to playing Extrav, but it is not better than Prosperity, do not get me wrong. 1 Called By, 1 Terraforming, to search our 3 maps. We play 3 of our Quick Play Rhoda, and then I play 1 copy of the Unexplored Winds. I know that there are people who like playing the Nadir package. I don't. I think it's kinda cope and weird, but I mean, if it works for you, it works for you. Flunder isn't exactly a high-skilled deck with insane technical skill, so you can really get away with whatever you want. And then for the trap lineup, it's very short. 1 Dreaming, and then the 3 Imperm. These are European Ultras. I like them. I'm not saying that to flex them, I'm saying that because I think the secret rare is genuinely ugly, and if you want to be a rarity whore, I genuinely, strongly suggest you get European Ultras. These look so much nicer. They have been commented on before, like, because I always like getting my cards shiny at least, not necessarily max rarity, but at least shiny. And people go, well, how come you don't have secret imperms? And I say, well, the European Ultras are way nicer. Now, as for the extra deck, like I said, we're playing Cherries and we're not playing Punishment, so it really doesn't matter what you play. You could literally just play a bunch of random butt-fucking fusions if you really wanted to. But you just really want to play whatever appears at your locals most often. I have some things taken out, so like, for example, the Winda is just there to have 15 cards. You should put in stuff like Hulk, you should put in Auroradon, DPE, Verte perhaps if you want, Dragoon if you really are afraid of it, but some cheap things you should always have in are like the Bardiche, the Kagari, Cherubini. I have this in because there are people that do try to make Infinity, and then something like Spheres for the D-Link player. Shurag is pretty okay, and there are people at my locals who still try to play Lyrilusk, which I think is kind of funny. But as long as you have 15 cards in the extra deck, and you focus on targets that You can cherry side game 2. I mean, you're A-okay and you're good to go. That's what I do. Preferably, I'd be playing Prosperity with punishment targets, but not all of us are rich. Speaking of rich, as for the side deck, I will immediately start with 2 missing cards. Yeah, that's right, there's 2 missing cards. These should be 2 Lightning Storm. I usually borrow them, or I go into tournaments that allow proxies for certain expensive cards. Unofficial tournaments with no reward, by the way, like basically casuals, but 2 Lightning Storm, just keep that in mind, I guess. Dark Smorg, this is basically your counterplay to Eld. The deck doesn't really lose to back row that much, especially because we have the funny Rhoda, but if you run into floodgates and stuff, this kinda can help us. So Dark Smorg is pretty cool, and that's why we also play a Lightning Storm and not enough back row hate, because Lightning Storm plus Dark Smorg, good shit. Obviously we play the 3 cherries because we're playing cherries, and then I just have a lot of traps for the side deck. Now my side deck changes often, so take my side deck with a grain of salt. This really is just the acclimation of what I find to work at my specific locals. You should always, and I mean always, for every side deck for any deck, make your side deck built towards what you know you will play against in your area. That being said, I personally have found a lot of success with 3-dimensional barrier. This card is a win button against anything trying to do Cupid pitch shenanigans. The moment they make Halcdon and then summon the 001, especially if it was a committed normal summon, you flip this and say Synchro, and they just kind of look at you and go, well, I mean, I guess I'll just end on a single negate in Brave Engine, and then you laugh that shit off, because you really can just outplay that. But yeah, I play that. 3 of this degenerate piece of shit trap. I have come to learn that this card is some swag in this deck. If you just end on certain cards, it definitely works. I have played a lot of events where I just didn't play it, but the events or the tournaments are for even friendlies, because I am an evil piece of shit and I bring this to friendlies. If you play this card at the right matchup, you win just because of this card alone. It is degenerate and I don't like it. This card is the reason why we will never get good Harpy cards. Well, at least not yet. And then the last 3 cards, this is honestly a kind of a weird champ thing, but I liked it. I do a lot of weird, funny baits with Judgment. I will search out Dreaming Town, and then I won't set it, and instead I'll set a Judgment. And it is so funny when that happens, because they will try to do things and... Like, I've had someone try to do something in battle phase before. I think they were playing some weird cope deck. It wasn't War Rocks, but I'm not even sure what they were doing. Mainly because when game 2 rolled around, I did exactly that to him, and I won, and then he scooped, so I don't know what he was playing. It's really funny. Good card. If you pair this up with Imperms, you can basically just become Eldritch Light, as you use your X-Drav and be a degenerate piece of shit that locks the opponent out of stuff. So that's cool. Anyways, thanks for watching. This isn't a guide on how to play Flunder. Honest to God, do not net deck me. This is just a video I'm making because people keep asking me personally what my list is. Here it is, I guess. Basically, the only things I don't currently own are 2 Lightning Storm, because I would rather spend the money on that on Elden Ring and a week's worth of lunch, which I did. Do I regret it? No, because there's someone at a locals I go to sometimes that lets me borrow their Lightning Storms when they don't play them. So that's cool. That's what I do. Y'all have a good one, and peace out, I guess.